welcome back to Nap Trapped. Hi, Bec.
Hey, Sally.
Let's dive in because this is one we've actually tried to record before.
I know.
And
I think that it's hard. It's a hard one to
it's really
kickstart.
hard because you and I don't ever want to
Mm.
offend
No,
anyone
we
or be
don't.
misconstrued.
Mm.
And so we're going to take a stab at it. Today we are talking about the word gentle in
Mm.
terms of baby sleep and kind of our hot take. We're not going to get too deep or nitty gritty. Big caveat, this is not intended to be about any sleep consultant that does use the word gentle or identifies as gentle. This is just about the word in the context of the baby sleep industry,
Mm.
and you and I might even have slightly different opinions. So let's dive in.
Mm. Okay, great.
What do you think about the word gentle? Just throw you straight under the
Yeah.
bus.
Oh, I try and choose my words so carefully around this because, like you, I don't want to offend anybody and I don't want to put my foot in it.
Mm.
When I see gentle sleep consultant, it makes me feel like the parents who are maybe selecting this particular sleep consultant are hoping that the sleep training is going to involve less tears or have a minimal crying effect or no crying whatsoever. And I'm often concerned that there's an unrealistic expectation going into using a sleep consultant or technique that has the word gentle in it, that perhaps there's going to be less or no crying
Yeah, I think
involved.
overall, I see that I understand the context that when we're talking about a gentle sleep training technique, that I'm assuming it implies no cry or less cry than perhaps other sleep training techniques. Full transparency, I do not describe myself as a gentle sleep consultant because I don't. The opposite. I'm a sleep
Mm.
consultant. I know, like, we're gentle. I have never not worked with a gentle family, and I'm also not a one-trick pony. So things that may be deemed as a gentle sleep training technique, absolutely. Do I also use things on maybe the other side of the sleep training technique spectrum? Absolutely.
Yeah.
But it is always from a gentle place. You probably won't, families probably don't really hear me even use the word gentle. It does not offend me. At some point, I will say it. But my issue with it is that I actually think it can be weaponized a little bit. And there is so much shame in the parenting space as it is that there is this. My issue with it is that what is the opposite of gentle? So by not identifying as a gentle sleep consultant or not identifying as this sleep training technique is gentle, there is a perception that it is harsh, brutal,
Mm.
neglectful, all of these things that I see in a lot of anti-sleep consultant and anti-sleep training rhetoric. And I can cop that. Over the years, I have built up a thick enough skin. Not only that, I've read all the research, I back myself, I know what I'm doing. And I don't have to be the sleep consultant for everyone. That is
Yep.
fine.
Mm.
But where I get I don't even want to say cross, but like where it affects
Mm.
me is that I know that I have worked with a lot of families who have tried X, Y, and Z, which would probably come under the umbrella of a gentle sleep training technique, and it hasn't worked. Often, for certain temperaments of babies, there can be more crying with the increase in level of hands-on technique
Mm.
and approaches. Not all babies. Nothing we talk about applies to every single baby out there. But there is then this sense of, okay, I have moved towards more of a controlled crying, FERBA. I work with families that have done cry it out, like true extinction as well. And when they read these comments
Oh, yeah.
that
Mm.
imply that they are
Mm.
not gentle,
Mm.
that they have done something brutal,
Mm.
neglectful, harsh, strong,
Yeah.
whatever it is, that is when I take issue with the word gentle.
Mm.
Um, because I just don't believe that a family should have to wear that shame that is not real.
Mm. I actually now I see where you're coming from, and I have a client at the moment that I feel um, possibly identifies with that guilt or that shame around the technique that she's chosen to use, because she has chosen, like initially they were doing lots of hands-on, so there would be pick up, put down, and there would be, padding in the cot and all the things, and they were still waking 10, 12 times. I was exhausted reading the intake form. And they just knew that even though it probably didn't sit with them in terms of like their comfort level, they knew that by sitting in the room and doing a more gentle approach, or, gentle approach, it wasn't working. Their little one wasn't responding well to all the stimulation of being in the room. So they decided to use more of an intervals-based approach. So coming in periodically and comforting and reassuring. But because their little one actually responded so well to that, it was a big surprise, and they are experiencing very short settling periods of time now. But I feel like maybe there is this guilt attached to using that, because their little one is maybe having a cry for 3 or 4 minutes and then putting themselves off to sleep. And for some families, that feels like, well, I've just let my baby cry it out.
Yeah, or they might not even feel that, but they have been told that.
They've been told that, because their little one has just cried themselves to sleep. And so I feel like, oh no, that's incredible. Like, absolutely amazing. Your little one has 100% self-settled. And done an
now
amazing
sleeping through
job.
the night.
So fast. Yeah, they are. And it is because it's deemed as not a gentle technique, they feel almost
Like
guilty
they haven't
it,
been gentle.
that they haven't been gentle.
Exactly. And that is my issue with the word gentle. And I actually do see it all the time used in more of an appropriate context when it is talking about, like, I understand where it has come from. I also understand from a marketing perspective for a lot of sleep consultants, I think it's like one of the number one Googled words after baby sleep or before baby sleep is gentle. And so from a marketing perspective, SEO is high.
Yeah.
And so it's effective. It's great branding. I personally am a sleep consultant, and not a single family, every single decision that a family ever makes for their baby that I have worked with has been led from the heart, that has been made in the best interests of their baby and family. They want to thrive and enjoy each other and enjoy this life and family that they have created, and things are no longer sustainable and they're not enjoying it to the extent that they could be, and something needs to change. To your point about the no cry, I actually don't believe that there is a no cry sleep training technique in general, whether it's labeled as gentle or not. Have I worked with babies where we've had no crying? Absolutely. And I can actually remember them, because you can't pick it. It's usually temperament and the stars just aligned, and that baby was so ready and eager to sleep. But it is this perfect storm of things just falling into place, and usually temperament. And so, yes, some babies, there is no cry. Or perhaps you have never actually had to actively, like, right, it's Friday night, we are formally sleep training our baby with X, Y, and Z technique. But you have just, in fact, from the get-go, like literally from day one, if you're me, you've just kind of always had a go at working on independent sleep and shaping your day and spacing feeds and done all of that thing. So you've never actually had to do it. So you could also say that some of that is no cry sleep training.
Yeah.
Like I have
100%.
essentially trained my babies to sleep from day one through no traditional sleep training technique.
Yeah, the same as me.
Yeah. So I think I understand the word gentle. I don't use it personally. I am not offended by it, but what I dislike is when it is weaponized. And I think it's also where other sleep consultants pit other sleep consultants against each other. That I am gentle, you are not. And one of the reasons you and I run this podcast is because you and I both run our own businesses. You and I both do things same, but different.
Yeah.
It does not have to be so volatile. And I think the word gentle has become fuel in that fire. That is my TED talk on the word gentle.
Yes. I also think from another perspective is that those families who maybe go with like a gentle sleep consultant,
Mhm.
a lot of the time they've probably, I mean, there is, if you think about like a
Yep.
library with books,
Mhm.
that's the kind of amount of techniques there are to get your little one off to sleep. There is, and some of them are, super simple. There's some really gentle ones, and then there's sort of like varying scales of, traditional other techniques. If you are moving in with like a gentle sleep consultant and they're offering like gentle ways and so forth to get your little one off to sleep, and they're not really assessing or thinking about your little one's temperament and their ability to perhaps do things a little differently.
Mm.
If the gentle technique is not working for your little one, where does that leave you? Like,
Mm.
are they actually going to then say, hey, well, actually, there are some different techniques that we could use. There's maybe a little bit more, less hands-on, sort of less stimulation, there may be more tears. Like, do they
Mm.
also offer the traditional style
Yeah,
of,
or do they just say, well, if this doesn't work, that's baby sleep? I hadn't actually thought about that, Beck, because now that I think about it, I remember working with with a mother with a 7-month-old overseas, and we decided we're going to start with a really in-room, what would be deemed as a gentle sleep training technique. And I think also worth noting, you and I, it's never just about the sleep training technique.
no,
So by the time we get to that, we've already minimized tears to the absolute best of our ability by
yeah,
getting feeds in place, by just
mm,
setting everybody up for this success,
yeah,
the
we're
big
pedantic
win.
about it. Yeah,
We are pedantic about it.
yeah,
And I understand it gets the most amount of like airtime on social media, the sleep trading part, but
yeah,
you got to do the prep before you do the
yeah,
plan. And I remember this particular baby was not only back arching, and this mother was in there, like
yep,
hands on, helping, assisting, back arching, scratching.
yep,
Mum was sweating.
yep,
None of it was productive.
mm,
And so she came out after and she
mm,
actually had removed herself. She's like, this is not working. And like within 12 minutes, he'd then put himself to sleep because
yeah,
it just was all a bit too much for him. But what I loved was that she was then able to have made that informed decision. And she was like, it does not work for him. And actually, it doesn't feel right for me. Like that was not that was not
yeah.
fun, or it wasn't the kind of
It
like
wasn't pleasant.
blissful. Let me pat you off to
Yeah,
sleep. That like amazing if it is, but it's not. So where does that leave us?
yeah,
And so where that left us is mum saying, okay, so what does out of the room look like? Because I just saw him put himself to sleep.
yep,
I know he can do it, but what are the steps? Because I still want to be responsive and attend to my baby.
mm,
Amazing. We pivot
yep,
because we're not in this box of anything but this is gentle. We have like, cool,
mm,
like let's step into the library that you
yeah,
mentioned
yeah, yeah.
and choose something else from the shelf that meets your baby's temperament, that works, for everyone.
Yeah. Yeah,
There you
it's
go.
a tough one.
But I think that's also where, like, we are gentle. We're not
We
even
are
wanting to
gentle.
offend someone about the word gentle. And yeah, so if you read something from us or wonder if we are gentle I mean, I can only speak for myself here, Beck. I am a sleep consultant. I work gently. I work with all sorts of sleep training techniques. I work holistically, as do you, and we meet parents where they're at.
Yeah, I think for me, I wouldn't deem myself as a gentle sleep consultant. I am a sleep consultant that works
Mm.
holistically. I
Hmm.
work with parents' comfort levels,
Hmm.
and I work with your little one's temperament.
Yes,
And
big
it's
one.
about putting all the pieces of that little puzzle together, because I often see families who what resonates well with them, like with the style of techniques that they might want to use does not resonate with their little one. And it's being able
Yep.
to articulate that and show them and show the communication that their little one is offering in
Mm.
terms of how that's not working for them. So it's sort of like that gateway of, like you just said before, with that mum and the baby was back arching and so forth, and
Mm.
that's all the communication. There are little subtle signs that your little one is maybe not
Or
enjoying all
less
the
subtle.
things. Yeah,
Back arching, less
yeah, that's
subtle.
pretty harsh, isn't it?
Yeah.
Like, get off me.
Yeah. Either get me up or get out.
But yeah, it's one of those things that I think you've got to, it's putting a blanket on it's putting a blanket label on something that,
Yeah.
you know,
That has become
Yeah.
a bit muddied and a bit shameful
Yeah.
at times when
Yeah, yeah.
used inappropriately. And
Yeah.
now I bet the next episode we record, we both accidentally say the word. Feel free to start a drinking game. Every time Beck and Sally accidentally say the word gentle after we just said. No, but I like I said at the beginning, I get it. I absolutely get it. It doesn't offend me. I don't like to see it when it's used in a shameful, limiting way.
I hope that answers
Excellent.
a few questions.
Okay, now we can breathe. We got sweaty palms.
We've done it. Yeah, I know.
I'm back
Take that
arching
shot
away
of
from the
tequila.
microphone.
Yeah.
All right, we will see you on the next episode of Nap Trapped as your sleep consultants.
Thanks, team. Catch you later.
Bye.